Hello everyone, how have you been? I hope you're as fit as fiddle. Okay, whenever I ask you how have you been, how are you doing? So I know that you cannot answer me, but in the comment box you can say, I have been well, I'm doing pretty well, I'm very well. How about you? Thank you for asking. And I can say that I am amazing. Thank you for asking again. Yeah. Okay, so my name is Geeta Sharma, and in the previous videos, I presented the explanation for two phantasmagorical poems that are Dust of Snow and Fire and Ice by Robert Frost. Today, I'm here to explain a poem that will encourage you to take the bull by its horns. I am talking about the Ball poem by John Berryman. I would like to start with a quote, but because it's very important when you're writing a central idea or theme or you're giving an explanation or a summary of the same, you're supposed to start either with a quote or with a rhetorical question. Rhetorical question is basically not a question. It's just a statement that you make in order to start impressively. Like if I say, does money grow on trees? So basically, I'm not asking you, actually telling you that money doesn't grow on trees. Okay. So let's start. As we grow older, the things that we loved and cherished slip through our fingers like sand. The poem The Ball is a poignant reminder that growing up is a double edged sword. On one hand, it brings us one step closer to independence and self discovery. On the contrary, it rips us away from the innocence and wonder of childhood. Since this poem is a little long, so I will explain this in parts. To embark upon, I would like to ask you a question. Hope you're ready to answer. Tell me, what's the meaning of life? Think about it, and you can write your responses in the comment box. I will tell you what it means to me. I believe life is all about living, not leaving. It's a roller coaster ride. It has ups and downs, but it's full of happenings. Life is like a blockbuster movie, having all the elements of thrill, humor, despair, suspense, adventure, tragic twists, mystery, and magic. If I talk about this poem, that is Ball poem, as I said before, it gives us an insight. Insight means a valuable lesson that come what may, life goes on. And so learn, grow, and roar. So let's start by reading first four lines of the poem. Okay. What is the boy now who has lost his ball? What? What is he to do? I saw it go, merrily bouncing down the street and then merrily over. There it is in the water. Here, basically, the poem highlights the norm of life. That life is about living and not giving up. In other words, move on. As we say, move on. I know it's easier said than done, but it's important to learn. John Berryman explains this harsh but profound truth by sharing his observation of a little boy who was playing with his ball near the harbor. The boy was gleaming, he was beaming with life when the ball was in his hole. But as life goes on, changes are bound to happen. When he was bouncing the ball, it was coming back to his hold. And when the ball was in his hold, he was very happy. Correct? But what happened? Of course, you cannot keep all the things in your hand because, as I said, changes are bound to happen. Likewise, the boy's moment with his possession was transient. Transient means for a short time. The ball bounced and went down the street into the deep sea from where it couldn't come back. The poet evokes our visualization here by using the words merrily bouncing. You know why? Because it's something that goes unnoticed that since we become so attached with the things that we forget that we can't captivate the things forever. We cannot capture those things forever. Since this is a world of mortals, our life is also transient. How can you think that you can keep hold of all the things forever? There's nothing is forever. And in the world of mortals, things tend to perish and beings tend to leave for good. Means, of course, we are going to die one day. Things are going to decay. The poet here is thinking to himself what the boy will do after losing the ball. Now I would like to read with few more lines of the poem. No use to say, oh, there are other balls. An ultimate shaking grief fixes the boy as he stands rigid, trembling, staring down all his young days into the harbor where his ball went. I would not intrude on him. A dime, another ball is worthless. In these lines, the poet appears to be experienced, pragmatic, and thoughtful, since he decides not to meddle, not to interfere, as he believes that being sympathetic would be futile. it will be of no use, right? The poet explains the state of boy who has just lost his ball. He can see that the boy is seized by, means captured by despair, sadness, as he lost his dearest possession, that was his ball. He is engulfed in the cloud of grief and is shivering, standing without spirits and gazing at the threshold from where the ball left him. The poet doesn't interrupt the boy as he knows no kind words, no consoling, no money, no other thing in the world could buy back his possession. The poet follows that a new ball or money or other things can't replace the memories, the precious moments, the underlying emotions that would always be there in the core of the boy's heart. I'd like to just remind you one thing, like when I read the first four poems where the ball went into the water. Now, why this boy was standing into the harbor and why the poet has taken that scene into consideration. Since if the ball is going underwater, the boy will not be able to get it back. And that's what like the poet wants to give us the message. Now, just don't think like how could a ball go under the water? What kind of material the ball was made of? No, these are not the questions to be think of. I think the questions which you are supposed to address are, and which the answers which basically you are supposed to understand and comprehend are that once the things are lost, they cannot come back. Once a person is lost, is gone from this mortal world, a person who has met his final destination, that person cannot come back. Be either you are going to lament or you are going to say like Amitabh Bachchan in a movie that God, I will not come here if you are not going to give me this back. No, it happens in the movie that they get something back, but here in this life, in the real life, it doesn't happen. Correct? It is not going to happen that if something has been lost, it has gone far, far away. It has assimilated into the universe. You will not be able to get it back. Correct? This is a materialistic world. This is a world of mortals. Here, things come and go. So you have to accept this truth. Fine? This is what I wanted to say. That's why he used sea, harbor, because the ball cannot come back from deep water. So anything that you have lost cannot come back. But yes, the attachment is there. We actually need to learn the detachment, but we learn more about attachment. We have a lot of expectations with the things. We feel that once we have got the possession of something, we are not going to lose it. But I think this is our folly. We need to understand that once you are getting attached with the thing, you need to know the norms of the life. For example, if you join a company, you understand what the company deals with, what the company is doing, why you are a part of it, what is your role and responsibility. You give every effort, you put every effort to adhere to the rules of the company. So why don't you adhere to the rules of life? Okay, so let's move on with the poem. The poet writes further. Now he senses his first responsibility. In a world of possessions, people will take balls. Balls will be lost, always, little boy, and no one buys a ball back. Money is external. As I mentioned before, the poet is well acquainted with the terms of this world, so he decides to take a back seat. He wants the boy to take the step that we all are supposed to, after losing someone or something, since we need to accept the truth that no lamentation, no wailing, no matter what we do, nothing can bring back that someone or something who has met his final destination. The poet informs us that this world is materialistic, where we will acquire a myriad of possessions, which will one day either be lost or decay, and will not make their way back. He furthermore emphasizes the most valuable lesson that people think that money makes life, but they tend to forget that life is beyond any material and money. Once gone, no matter what you possess will never be enough to get the life back. It's beyond our reins. I hope you understood this point. Money is external, means money cannot buy you happiness. Money cannot buy back your memories associated with the thing or associated with the person, right? So money definitely cannot buy the things which are precious. The poet wants the boy to understand and accept this truth, as nothing in this world can replace the precious memories. So he wants the boy to take the bull by its horns. That means he wants the boy to become resilient. A resilient person is one. I actually use this phrase, idiom, many a times because I love this. I believe I really want to be a resilient one. A resilient person is one like who can overcome his despair, frustration, and sadness without hurting anybody's sentiments, or maybe without hurting himself. Okay, so if you are able to take the bull by its horns and you can overcome despair, that means you have understood a little part of life. Since life is like question and you cannot say that you have understood it. Okay, let's read the last lines. He is learning well behind his desperate eyes the epistemology of loss. Epistemology means knowledge. How to stand up knowing what every man means not just man, every human must one day know, and most know many days how to stand up. So here the poet feels that the boy is strong enough to muster up the courage, means collect and gather the courage to rise back and get over the loss. He believes that the boy will attain, means acquire the knowledge about the worldly terms. Epistemology of loss means he will understand the terms of this world, of losing and moving on. That's valuable and that will come in handy. Come in handy means that will be useful in future. The poet provides us a bold view that life is a roller coaster ride. Sometimes we'll be on the top, having all the pleasures. On the contrary, sometimes we will nosedive and lose many things, as change is certain, but changes are those challenges that teaches us the best lessons of life and makes us stronger and better version of ourselves. So we need to be resilient and be well informed that life isn't a bed of roses. Even roses have thorns, but roses still bloom and spread cheer, beauty, love, and fragrance. Though they wither away, but when they lived with resilience and exuberance, right? I hope you will also learn to take the bull by its horns, accept the setbacks, hardships, losses, and snacks without frustration, but with resilience, and overcome them and live life to the fullest. As I said, life is about living and not leaving. Hope you understood the poem, but if you have any queries, feel free to comment. Thank you for learning and growing. Thank you for keeping patience. I would like that you should shine more since you all are the stars. I will see you next time with another poem or maybe a lesson. Until then, keep learning more about yourself and expanding your horizon. Thank you so much.